I love talking to our assistant coaches in the summer, catching up on the Vikings roster, and Andre Patterson joins us now to talk Vikings defensive linemen. A great part of our roster is our defensive line, and a big part of it's because of you, Coach. You get to coach those guys and be with them every day. I'm sure that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's, over the spring to see how far this group has progressed has been really fun to watch. And I think most importantly to see how hungry they came back and how hard they worked every day. So, I finished the spring very excited and looking forward to camp.
15 guys in your room, 8 are returners and 7 are new. Do you coach new guys differently than you coach returners? What's that balance like?
No, I coach them all the same.
Yeah.
I mean, Griffen, Linval give me a bad time because when they come back in the room, it's like they never heard how to get in the stands before. So we start from ground zero. This is how you get in the stands. This is how you get out of the stands. This is what your feet do. This is what your hands do. And I don't take anything for granted. It's good for those older guys to hear it all over again, and then they do a great job of helping me coach up the young guys.
And that's what I was going to ask you about, specifically with B-Rob and Linval and Everson, is them being role models of sorts for those younger players, because you guys are great with younger players, but there's nothing like player to player, right?
No question. And this year has been really funny because a lot of times Griff starts coaching them before I can even get there. So I see something and I'm starting to coach him up and he's already got him. When we're in individual period and those guys take their rep and they go back to the end of the line, they got Linval, they got B-Rob, they got Griff, they got Danielle, help coaching them up too. And so that really helps, I think, in their progression of catching up faster.
I'm anxious for Danielle's season this year. I'm anxious to see what's next for him, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing, everybody's talking about that he's bigger, faster, stronger, and that's true, and that's all true. But the thing that I've saw is he's not thinking anymore. Yeah. He's just playing football. And and that's part of the progression that happens from being a young guy and actually becoming a veteran. When you become a veteran and you hit the green, you just play. You know you belong, you know you're good enough, you just play.
You could probably speak for an hour about this, but spend a minute on it. What makes Linval such a force?
Well, I think it's because of the combination of him being big, strong, physical. Now, there's a lot of guys like that in this league. But what takes him over the table of everybody else is his true athleticism. Yeah. And you see it on Sundays. He has the ability to make tackles from sideline to sideline. And that's very unique for a guy that's 6'5" and 340-something pounds. And he just has unbelievable man strength. Yeah. He can take a 320-pound guy and throw him around like a rag doll. And so those things make him very, very unique, and it's hard to find another guy like him. But I think the thing that's really taken Linval's game to another level is he just doesn't live off of that. He's a technician, so he knows how to use his hands properly, what to do with his feet. He understands blocking angles and how the offensive linemen are trying to block him. So a lot of times he reacts to the block before the offensive linemen even get a chance to start doing it. And so I think that what makes him very, very unique.
We signed Sheldon Richardson this offseason, and that was a big signing. He was one of the better players on the market this year. I think people would have looked at our defensive line and been like, yeah, they're not going to sign a free agent. They're good there, but we did. So what did you guys love about Sheldon that made you go after him?
He's athletic, he's quick, he's powerful. So when they asked me to evaluate him on tape, I'm like, why am I watching this? There's no chance that that we're going to get this guy. We're not going to have the money to pay this guy. So when the process started to happen, I was totally shocked that, number one, we were even in the mix and that we had an opportunity to get him.
What I remember about Sheldon is, do you remember the game against the Jets in 2014? Jarius Wright's game-winning touchdown in overtime. Sheldon almost ran him down. Right. That tells you his athleticism, but also his integrity, the competitive integrity.
His desire, and I think the most impressive thing that I've seen from Sheldon during the spring is he came in here and he's an open book. He walked in the door, coach me. whatever you want me to do, I'm gonna go try to do it, and that's been very good.
So Linval and Sheldon as your starting interior guys. Is Jaleel Johnson someone to watch? I mean, he gets to learn behind those two. That's a pretty good model to follow.
No question, and Jaleel's had a tremendous spring. He's come a long way, and he's strong, which he's always been. You know, he's athletic, but now he understands how to play within our scheme. You know, the one thing about our defense is, you know, you have to be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. And if you don't do that, you break down everything. And he's come in this spring, and he gets it now. He understands it now. And I think he's going to have a great season for us this year.
We signed David Parry kind of after free agency, the waves of free agency happened. We signed David Parry, so people maybe forget about that, but Coach Zimmer said some pretty good things about him toward the end of the offseason program. Have you liked what you've seen?
Oh, yeah. No, that was Rick and George Payton did an outstanding job with that one now. I mean, he's a physical guy. He can hold a point of attack. But he's been a very, very pleasant surprise since he's been here. You know, he's caught on to the technique really fast. He does a good job of using his hands. He's hard to move off the ball. So, I mean, that's been a tremendous pickup for us. I'm very pleased with him, and I think he's got a chance to be a guy that helps us out.
I want to ask you about the 2 draft picks, Adea Aruna and Jalen Holmes. I know that you've only got them for 13 practices, so you don't have the full book on them yet, but early impressions.
Oh, I like them both a lot. I think both those 2 young men have a chance to have a bright future for us. You know, Jalen, he's a hard worker. It's important for him to learn and get better. He's staying in Sheldon and Linval's back pocket, you know, to learn as much as he can.
It's such a good learning environment for young players on this defense, isn't it? With the veterans in place and the continuity. As a young player, you come in here and there's no pressure to come in here and contribute right away. You know?
Right. I think the biggest thing for me is it's not just me. They keep the room right. You know, you can't go in there in our room and not work. You can't come on the field and practice and not practice hard and not run to the ball, because it's not me screaming at you. You know, it's B-Rob, it's Griff, it's Linval. The standard has been set by them.
We'd be remiss not to mention your assistant, Robert Rodriguez. I know that he works really hard, and you appreciate what he does to help that position group.
Oh, no question. He does a tremendous job. Yeah. And I know, Bobby, I think you've been around me long enough to know that I would never give any of my guys on their own to work with if I didn't trust them. Okay? And so if you come out to practice, you will see that, you know, I give Rob a group of guys to go over and work with, and I take a group to work with. So that tells you what kind of a trust level that I have in him, and what kind of belief I have in him, number one, as a coach, but most importantly, that he has the ability to get across to them what I try to get across to him. And he sees it through my eyes.
All right, big summer for you. I know your son's getting married, so congratulations to him and to your family on that.
Thank you.
Hope you have a great break, and thanks for your time.
Oh, anytime for you, Wop.
All right, Coach.